If you agree that mouse shape is important, or maybe you just like witnessing creative engineering solutions, and I suggest you stick around for this one. Many of the mice in my collection, I feel like I have to make compromises on the shape. I might like certain elements of it and not like other elements. As an example, the Pulsar X2H, I really enjoy the hump on that mouse, but the front of the mouse is maybe just a little bit too wide and boring for me. Another example is the Zowie U2. I love the thumb placement on the left-hand side, but I'm not a huge fan of the hump. It's maybe just a little bit too low. And then a final example is the Vaxi NPO1. The right-hand side of that mouse is top tier for me, but maybe the length of that mouse is just a little bit too short. Now imagine a scenario where you can create your own mouse using those 3 elements that you love so much. That's actually the reality that we live in now. We can do that with the Orbital Pathfinder. Take your favorite elements from your favorite mice and mash it all together. It's great, I love it, and I can't wait to show you how it works. So first things first, I'd really like to show you how this modular system works. So the mouse comes with maybe no side buttons and just a couple of holes in the sides for your modules to fit into. And you'll also notice there's a big hole in the back and you're missing a hump. Then you get a second box, which I'll take you through in detail later in the video, that contains all of your various different spacers and modules. So you have modules that are designed specifically for the left side of the mouse, and you have spacers as well as an option which can increase the width of the mouse to varying degrees depending on which one you apply. So the spacers fit into the modules, just like so. So if you want the side of your mouse to be thicker on one side, you can apply the spacer to the module and put the arms of the module into the holes on the side of the mouse and push it in. And it's as simple as that. So it's the same system again for the other side of the mouse, it's just effectively flipped. And then the hump system is subtly different. So you have spacers that look like this and they kind of fit on the rails in the back. You just push that all the way in. And then the hump channels, you can see that, just slide into that same rail too. And now that is my shape of my mouse installed. The only thing that's missing are side buttons. We have side buttons here. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to line them up and I'm just going to push them in. That's now installed and that's now installed. And if you're concerned about the durability of these parts, this mouse comes with a 2-year warranty and the parts are rated for 20,000 rotations, which means you can take them out and put them in 20,000 times under warranty. So that's how the mouse works. I'm going to show you now what comes in the box. The mouse kit actually arrives in 2 different boxes. And one of the boxes hosts the main body of the mouse, the 4K dongle and the wires. It also holds the 2 different sets of X-ray pad mouse feet. You get the jades and the obsidians. So you have a set for cloth and a set for glass. So let's talk about the specs of the mouse before we dive into the module box. So the final version of this product will weigh between 53 and 59 grams, depending on which modules you have installed. It will come with a 4K dongle in the box and it will host a 3950 sensor. It has a nice grippy and responsive aluminium scroll wheel. The clicks are Omron opticals and boy are they crispy. They actually feel like mechanical switches, which is my preference, but they have the benefit of optical switches, which is the best of both worlds. The side buttons also feel pretty good, despite them being modifiable. You know, they're actually very well implemented. So in the module box for the thumb side of the mouse, you get different styles to help you with your thumb placement. I'll talk you through them briefly now. So there's one module which is very vanilla, it's pretty safe, not too much shape to it, but just enough to hold your thumb in position on the side of the mouse. There's another option which resembles the Zowie U2 thumb style, which is my personal favorite, so I'm delighted that they've replicated it here. It locks your thumb in place in a really comfortable way. The third option is a very tapered option with nice hips at the back, and this is very good for stability, but it won't be everyone's cup of tea. And then the final thumb module is essentially the same again, but without the heavy taper, just maybe slightly bigger hips at the back. So you get 4 very distinctly different modules for the thumb side of the mouse, which is great to see. The modules for the right-hand side of the mouse are a lot more interesting in my opinion. You know, you get a normal flat option again, it's pretty vanilla, it's pretty safe. As with the left-hand side of the mouse, it's nice to have an option if you don't like the more shapely ones. There's also a traditional ergo option, which I really enjoy in lots of different grip styles. Again, there's an aggressive claw style with heavy angles and tapers to help you with grip. And there's an option that feels like a traditional claw style in terms of the back hips, and I like this one a lot. And then you have the very specialist options, which I also really enjoy. There's a relaxed claw module, which gives you some nice grooves to slot your fingers into, an aggressive claw module with your fingers very close together, and another aggressive claw option with more space between the fingers. The back humps offer a nice selection too. You have one that is very low, which would work well for fingertip grip or claw, making contact with the lower fleshy parts of my thumb and pinky. The next one is a medium hump. It makes more contact with your actual palm, while also maintaining contact with your thumb and pinky pads. The third hump is more of a high hump option, and I love me a high hump. It sits neatly inside and presses up into the palm and reduces the contact in your thumb and pinky pads. And the final hump is a kind of ergo option. It makes the mouse kind of curve into your grip, and I really like this hump. It feels like a great option to me, especially if you're a fan of ergonomic mice. So as you can imagine, there's a lot of combinations that you can make with the pieces included in the purchase price, which means that the somewhat pricey entry point of about £150 isn't a bad value proposition when you consider how many mouse shapes you can make with this mouse kit. And then the cherry on the cake is that the Orbital team plan to continue releasing module kits after the initial release, which means that this mouse will just be endlessly modifiable. If the Pathfinder was a video game, I would compare it to Skyrim. You know, it's foundationally solid, it's endlessly modifiable, and therefore, you know, it never gets boring. So the Pathfinder is legitimately awesome, and you can tell that I'm a really big fan of it. But I do have some objective observations that I want to share with you, which maybe serve to highlight some of the limitations of the design concept. The overall design of this mouse offers what I'm going to refer to as contact points in the main areas that matter. So you get good contact in your palm, you get really nice contact on the left side of the mouse, and really nice contact on the right side of the mouse. But what you don't get with the Pathfinder is a seamless, smooth transition from one contact point to the others. There are more gaps and layers to this mouse than traditional non-modular mouse shapes, and if you're a mouse smothering palm gripper, you may find that the Pathfinder isn't quite as comfortable for you as something like the EC1 would be. Another observation is that the height of the mouse is not particularly adjustable. So if you are looking for a really low mouse profile or a really high mouse profile, you may not be able to scratch that itch with this mouse kit. My final observation is that although the Pathfinder is built really well, the plastic modules don't have a completely seamless connection to the shell. You may experience some very slight movement and noises coming from those areas of the mouse. It doesn't bother me at all, but I know the odd creak and pop here and there will bother some of you. So providing you're comfortable with those three somewhat objective design limitations of the Orbital Pathfinder, I think you'd be really hard pressed to find a mouse that offers as much value. You know, you are pretty much guaranteed to find a shape that works for you, provided you can compromise on those three things I've mentioned. The Orbital Pathfinder has really taken me by surprise. I just hope you enjoy it as much as I do. Let me know if you're going to pick one up. Take it steady. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye now.